Shuva, Shuva, yet again come. Shuva, 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 yet again come. Oh, Shuva, 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 yet again come.
Whoever you are, whoever you are, whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come, wanderer, worshipper, ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come. Whoever you are, come, 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 even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Come, whoever you are, whoever you are. Whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come, wanderer, worshipper, ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come. Whoever you are, come, 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 even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Come, even if you've been waiting for a miracle to come. Just come. Whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, just come, come, whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come,
Shuva, 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 yet again come. Shuva, 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 yet again come. Oh, Shuva, 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 yet again come.
whoever you are, whoever you are. Whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come, wanderer, worshipper, ours is not a caravan of despair. whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come.
Yet again come. Shuva, 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 yet again come. Oh, Shuva, 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 yet again come. Oh, Shuva,
Whoever you are, whoever you are. Whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come, wanderer, worshipper, ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come. Whoever you are, come, come, come. Even if you have broken your vow Whoever you are, whoever you are. Whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come, wanderer, worshipper, doesn't matter, ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, 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 whoever you are, come, come. Whoever you are, come, come, come. Even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times, come.
One day, one day, one day, one day,
Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkiveinu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim.
everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be alright, 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 alright. Alright, 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 alright.
The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat as a covenant for all time. Shamru on page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני Israel, Oti leolam, Oti leolam, v'shamru bnei Israel et hashabat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
On page 46.
Adonai sifatai titaf ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah
Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagidol, Hagibor, Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vesocher Hasdei Avot Rimahot, Umei Gavot Yudhei Ma Shemo Ve'ahavda, Mele Ozer Umashiach Umagim, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magid Abraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye meti ata rabba joshia. Mashiach ruach morid hagashem. Mechalkei hayim bechesef. Mechaye metim berachamim rabim. Zomech noflim bercheolim. Umatmir asuri. Mechaye melunato. Lishemei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot. Umido melach. Melech menim tumachayeh. Umasmiam es Yeshua. V'ne'emar hayayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai. Mechayeh hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh. Ukadoshim b'chol yom hallelujah selah. Baruch atah Adonai. Ha'elu hakadosh.
We continue on page 55.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Page 56.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, be'amcha Yisrael, amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam, be'ahavot tekabel. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, be'amcha Yisrael, amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam, be'ahavot tekabel. U'tehi l'ratzon tamid, avodat Yisrael amecha.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu,
Be'amcha Yisrael, amcha Yisrael,
u'tefilatam,
be'ahavot
tekabel.
El karov lechol karov, b'nei avodecha, v'choneina, shefoch ruchacha
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
המחזיר שכינתו לציון.
Amen.
At the top of page 59.
God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ucha na'el v'hodot.
On page 60, we join in our prayer for peace. Shalom Rab.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atah hu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Ki atah hu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
At this time, we call to mind all of those people in our lives who are in need of God's healing presence as we offer blessings of wholeness and renewal for them. I invite you to the back of the song sheets where you'll find this evening's prayer for healing, and the chorus is El Na Rafana La Rafana Lanu. Please God, heal her and heal us all. And after that, it's just back and forth antiphonally, so you can repeat after us. But you see all the words there? They're there for you. We're going to think of at this time from these from our congregational families: Chris Argall, Nancy Ash, Fred Barnett IV, Rabbi Marcy Bellows, Deborah Byrne, Betty Cohen, Amy Cooper, Shar DeGrave, Liz Daniel, Elizabeth Draper, Harvey and Susan Filer, Andrew Fisher, Beatrice Fry, Dean Gavney, Jacob and Roger Gluckman, Maxine Goldstein, Stuart Goodman, Ramesh Gupta, Amy Hammer, Ellen Heimberg, Laurel Jonas, Dick Kelvin, Chris Kuntz, Jim Rudisil, Deborah Sanders, Julie Sherman, Jean Schimmel, Shoshana Slatke, Matthew Treehub, Bob Ward, all the names lovingly listed in the live stream chat. And are there names that we would like to add here in the sanctuary? Sylvia.
God of our ancestors,
Dear God of our ancestors,
help us renew our faith.
help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu. Restore our strength of body.
Restore our strength of body.
Help clarify our mind.
Help clarify our mind.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our life.
Rejuvenate our
El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu.
gratitude.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Throughout our day and night,
Throughout our days and nights.
we celebrate the journey,
We celebrate the journey.
this precious gift of life.
This precious gift of life.
El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu. El na rifana la, rifana la nu.
We share a few moments now in silence.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Le razzoni miei figli, veghion libi, le fanecha, Adonai.
This week, when Rolling Stone magazine named our local House representative to be among several other members of Congress as having aided the architects of the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol, I was gobsmacked, as they say here in the South. Again. It remains incomprehensible to me that one can be under federal investigation for sex trafficking of minors, serial rape, sheltering assets offshore to avoid paying taxes, employing alternative facts to mislead constituents, using one's position in government to leverage one's personal stock portfolio, and now committing treasonous acts and still be allowed to serve in the highest levels in all three branches of government in these United States of America. And all of that right out in the open, before our very eyes. How did we become so shamelessly tolerant of graft, deceit, lawlessness, sexual misconduct, and abuse of power in our national leaders? Wasn't there a time when politicians and leaders were held accountable for their moral and criminal conduct? A time when the gaze of the American people, due process of the law, and or the ballot could remove them from the privilege of being public servants? The truth is that with the exception of the public voting someone out of office, the overall dearth of accountability for abuses of power and money as well as law breaking is not new. Over the course of American political history, very few senators and House representatives have ever been impeached or expelled from office for committing crimes. Some have been censored or reprimanded but not removed from their posts, and a small number resigned before they could be voted out by their colleagues. And fewer than 5 were even considered for one of those remedies in the last decade. And that is not because there is nothing to prosecute. It makes me wonder whether criminal behavior in our politicians is a norm we may not like, but choose to live with nonetheless. When we look at this week's Torah portion, we are treated to a very different set of ancient societal norms, ones that look, to me, at least in my gaze, far better than our own. After Sarah's death, Abraham sets out to find a cave in Canaan, specifically in the land of the Hittites, to bury her in. Instead of squatting or claiming the land with a fight, Abraham approaches the leaders of the Hittite people in the public square to see about acquiring the property lawfully. He bows low to the ground, admits he is an outsider residing in their territory, and then boldly proposes to buy the land on which the cave of Machpelah sits for its full value and price. Even such a polite request to establish a permanent presence as a stranger in a tribal town was chutzpahdik, if not confrontational. It could have been dangerous. Therefore, a lot was at stake by making his intentions known clearly in clear view of witnesses. And the Hittites' first response to Abraham is to offer him full access to bury his dead without any payment at all. That was both a kind and simple solution for them, which also didn't obligate the Hittites to a long-term commitment to Abraham and his descendants. Respectfully, Abraham presses the issue, insisting that it was only fair for him to pay for the rights to bury his beloved Sarah. The town leaders appropriately invite Abraham to continue negotiations directly with Ephron, the owner of the field on which Abraham had his eye. And again, in the sight of the whole town in the public square, Abraham appeals to Ephron that purchasing the land outright and making it official was his desire. Ephron decides the fair price is 400 shekels of silver, but again offers to give him the land and access to the cave for free. And then the Torah reports that Abraham gave him the money, and Ephron's field with the cave and all the trees in the field around it passed to Abraham's possession in the presence of all the Hittites and all who passed through the gates of the city. It's a clean deal on all sides, one that gives Abraham the first official toehold on the Jewish people's perpetual connection to the land that will become Israel. What strikes me about this episode is how painstakingly formal, transparent, and peaceful the process was of transferring property to Abraham's possession. After all, as I said, it was no small request of a foreigner to buy land away from another tribe. And yet, because he secured the buy-in of the private owner, paid handsomely for the plot, and executed the entire transaction in the full view of all the people of the land, everybody was able to leave agreeing collectively that the transaction was above board and enduring. The deal reflected the highest and healthiest norms of their time. In democracies today, mechanisms like a strong and free press that ensures for the public transparency in government, and courts of justice that demand accountability to the rule of law are more vital than we might be aware of, because these mechanisms actually establish and reinforce healthy societal norms. And without these mechanisms, harmful norms can sneak in, inclining us away from making choices grounded in our individual moral codes, or nudging us towards acting on implicit biases that form in all of us beginning as early as 3 months old, when, for example, we start to prefer the faces of people who share our skin color over the faces of those who don't. And by 5 years old, we become aware of what group we belong to and what status we enjoy as a member of that group. And we have also internalized ideas about how various groups in our society are perceived and treated. The important thing in this discussion isn't that we have these biases, it's knowing that as we mature, these ingrained ideas are amplified or discouraged by social norms that we absorb from popular culture, the language we use, and even our social environments. This is the reason why people are much more likely to litter in a place that is full of garbage already, even if they know that littering is against the law, because the norms of the place push us to perhaps act differently than our personal codes suggests we should. Our environment is not only the only place where norms influence our choices and behavior. If someone in a powerful position acts in a certain way or expresses a certain view, our brains implicitly assume that those actions and views are associated with power and that emulating them might be to our advantage. While our biases may never change because they're based on long-standing stereotypes that we have been learning since birth, our behavioral norms can shift at the speed of social life. Therefore, we might think that an uptick in anti-Semitic attitudes stems from deeply rooted ancient beliefs that have persisted over centuries, which is true, but actual incidents of anti-Semitic-based violence is highly influenced by social environments that make hating Jews an either acceptable or unacceptable belief to act upon. During her time in Rwanda in the early 2000s, Betsy Levy-Pollack, a psychologist at Princeton University, observed that the genocide that took place there wasn't the power of age-old hatreds. The Hutus and Tutsis had always had stereotyped ideas about one another, but rather the genocide was because of quickly shifting social norms. To a great extent, those norms in Rwanda flipped so rapidly because The most influential radio stations broadcasted a powerful, persuasive, and constantly repeating message urging listeners to join killing squads and organize roadblocks. And suddenly, formerly peaceful people saw violence as sanctioned and normal. Voices of authority have a strong and rapid effect on social norms, in part because they change our assumptions about what other people think. If I believe everybody else thinks something is okay, I'm more likely to think it is okay. Case in point, Pollack also examined the change in American attitudes towards same-sex marriage before and after the Supreme Court decision established it as a constitutional right in June of 2015. After polling people both before and after the Supreme Court's decision, her team found that while personal opinions of same-sex marriage hadn't shifted after the ruling, people's perceptions of others' opinions had changed almost immediately. After the decisions, Americans, whether liberal or conservative, began to think that their fellow citizens now supported same-sex marriage more than before, even though, in reality, the only thing that had changed was the ruling of a public institution that exerts authority and leadership over us. In terms of anti-Semitism, what the psychology of norms suggests is that you don't need a whole nation of raging anti-Semites to license the use of anti-Semitism as a social weapon. Any figure of authority can simply make the expression of anti-Semitism to suddenly appear to be one of the most broadly acceptable ways of showing pent-up anger. And this is why, in Nazi Germany, one person with enormous power was able to whip up the nation's fear and anger, channel it towards one scapegoat, the Jews, and make it normative for folks to think that the wholesale murder of millions of innocents was a valid response to their frustrations. Such an authority figure can create the impression of a social consensus where in reality, none exists. So what do the experts say we can do to counteract the rise of violent, hateful, and lawless new norms, especially as our leaders exemplify them so capably? By actively transmitting peaceful, loving, and law-abiding counter-norms. We know that social norms are more readily spread when the person modeling them has a high degree of personal influence and is physically close to the person absorbing them. Think about why fictional coach Ted Lasso is wildly successful and so endearing. His secret weapon, his kindness, becomes the counter-norm to the cold, angry, competitive social environment he first finds in England. So one possibility for us, therefore, is to call upon and remind our influential people in our local communities to fight the perceived consensus created by larger authority figures. And so if the US president suggests that some neo-Nazis are very fine people, but those in positions of power closer to you, such as your mayor, your rabbi, your principal, speak out against him, then social psychology says you'll be more likely to call into question the new normal that that president has modeled, and the new behavior will look more like an outlier than a norm to you. Personally, when it works right, setting positive social norms is a primary role of an intentional religious community, like this one. We are here together to broadly say to ourselves and to remind one another that there is another way, a kind and loving way to live. Here we have to both hold each other accountable for our missteps and protect our precious way of life, the way that encourages us to connect and care for one another through hardships and joys. On this third anniversary of the Pittsburgh Synagogue Massacre, I'm reminded that despite all the violence that might be intended our way, we will continue to be a community striving to practice being stronger than hate. When we are at our best, utilizing the best of our Torah's wisdom to guide us, this congregation is fostering a competing narrative to the polarized, hateful culture that we see all around us, hopefully infusing and transmitting social norms that train us, as it says in Pirkei Avot, to be a human in a place where there are no humans, to strive to be a human being. The good news, and there is a little, is that unlike ingrained hatreds and stereotypes, norms are flexible. They shift quickly. And with the right pressure from the right people, they can shift back to where we hope they will be. So let each of us be those right people when we go out of this beloved sanctuary and go out of our homes into that crazy world out there. Perhaps today this is the most powerful meaning of us Jews being a light to the nations. Shabbat Shalom, and I am indebted to Lowell Pearlman for sharing an article with me from the New Yorker on which this is largely based, which is called How Norms Change by Maria Konnikova. I invite you now to rise and turn to page 282 in your Sidurim as we join in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach lado hakol, la'tek yudu la'leotzer bereshit, shalom asanu b'jiyei haratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shalom asanu kahem, ve'yor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umadim, lifnei melech malchei hamalchim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Please be seated, page 287.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
Bayom, bayom,
poem from Henry Van Dyke that's not in your Sidurim. I'm standing upon the seashore, a ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight? That is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and she is just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at that moment when someone at my side says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." And that is dying. Our thoughts turn now to all of those who have departed, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives are a blessing to humanity. We think of Jan Weil and Bert Rothman, longtime members of CBHT. We think of Jean Nofel, husband of Ellen and parent to Jeff, and Wally Jonas, father of Billy Jonas, father-in-law of Adrian and grandfather to Layla, who died in recent days. And we acknowledge the yard sites, the anniversaries of the passings of Molly Blumberg, Arthur Butchers, Eleanor Carr, Perry Coleman, Julius Gershenson, Stanley Green, Sybil Green, Faye Leader, Francis Littauer, Pauline Miller, Benjamin Nathan, Saul Nathan, Irving Pitt, Joshua Rubin, Louise Vento, and Henrietta Wallace, and all of those listed in the live stream chat. And are there additional names here in the sanctuary to add in memory? If you're here in mourning, I invite you to rise so that we might acknowledge your grief. And I invite the congregation to rise and stand beside you as we all turn together to page 294 to recite the Mourner's Kaddish, thanking God for the gifts of life and memory. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei, v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam al'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, V'yit hadar v'yit ale v'yit halal shmei d'kudusha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru. Amen.
Ve'im ruchi
soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Hold me in your hand. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand. My soul I give to you. My spirit in your care. Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely below Draw me near, I shall not fear. Safely below
Shabbat Shalom. I'm Sabrina Rockoff. I'm here tonight representing the Board of Trustees, and I would like to ask Samantha Peshkin to join me. Mazel Tov to Samantha and her parents, Lori and Ira, on Samantha becoming a bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. Sam, it is so special to me that I get to stand up here and share the bima with you tonight. You've been a member of my daughter's B'nai Mitzvah class, and so I feel like I've got to share a little bit with you in this journey. And when I asked some of your classmates about you, when I realized I was going to get to do this, they described you as kind and talented, particularly your flute playing, which we got to experience a little bit of tonight, and compassionate. And I just think to have, as a middle school girl, lots of other middle schoolers describing you as kind and compassionate is something really special in today's world. And I am so happy that I get to present you with these gifts and that I got to share tonight with you. And I'm so glad that you've been part of my family's B'nai Mitzvah journey as well. So I get to give you some gifts, and as you know, as our custom, they're wrapped, but I'm going to tell you what's in them, okay? So here we go. So first, you have your bat mitzvah certificate, which is suitable for framing, signed by Rabbi and Seth as a reminder of the work you did to reach this milestone. And you get a $250 gift certificate to use on a nifty Israel trip. And you get a Tanakh from the Brotherhood so that you can continue your Jewish studies. And a Kiddush cup from Sisterhood to remind you of the sweetness of this weekend. And I hope that I personally get to see it used in lots of simchas to come. So Mazel Tov to you. And I'll give you all these things to take back with you to your seat. Mazel Tov. Thank you. I have a few announcements to share with you this weekend. This Sunday, October 31st at 10 a.m. in the sanctuary and on live stream, Sisterhood invites the whole community to a program entitled Jewish Rituals on Death. This will be a very special crafted program that will be followed by an optional tour of Riverside Cemetery. More information and details on the speakers are in your Tuesday email. Beginning November 4th, for 8 Thursdays at 7 p.m., Jenny Mercer will be teaching a class about Genesis. That's the name, about Genesis. Please see your email for more details and to get registered. Sisterhood's gift shop is again holding their Hanukkah pre-order sale and gift bazaar. And everyone knows Hanukkah is early this year. It's either early or late. It's never on time. It's early. Pre-order link is in your Tuesday email, and additional shopping and order pickup will be November 21st. Lots of great holiday-themed items. Next Friday is our family Shabbat at 6:30 in the sanctuary. Gan Yeladim, our kindergartners with their teacher Marnie Silverberg, will help lead services. It's so exciting to have our classes help lead services again for our family services. If you're considering being here for this very special Shabbat, and we hope you are, we are working on the possibility of having a food truck here early for an outside pre-neg dinner before services. We'll keep you posted and let you know for sure in your Tuesday email if we're able to pull it off. So everybody watch for that Tuesday email. Shabbat Shalom.
Len, who's back there with you? I can't see. Is that Brian? Rich? Who is it? Who's sitting with you, Len? Rich. Thank you to Len and Rich for being our stream team. You can't see them, but all of our people at home are grateful to you for helping get them here too. Especially after the first 15 minutes. I hope you hung in with us. We are going to conclude our service with words that are on your song sheets. Olam chesed yibaneh. We must build this world with kindness. These are the social norms we are reminding ourselves here all the time. Let us build this world from kindness. Olam chesed yibaneh. Please rise.
Olam chesed yibaneh.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. No, you got.
Shabbos too.
And come over here, they can't see you.
Curly, Larry, and Mo.
Shabbat Shalom. These are the people you'll see if you come to services in the sanctuary. We love you. All right, we're out.